are you're an early professional or someone who's just curious about the climate space, you're welcome. Welcome. Hi Suleiman, welcome. So before we begin, I would like to play a video to actually brace our minds so we can actually to whet our appetite for what is to unfold. So I will play in this video just for a start. Hi Dave, welcome. Welcome everyone. And please tell us where you're joining us from. I'm trying to play a video actually to whet our appetite for what's to unfold. So I would like to share a video. But while I'm trying to share the video, please drop your location in the comment section. So hoping you're seeing my screen, I would like to play the video to begin. I don't know why the video is not playing. Sorry, please. So sorry, I'm trying to play the video and it's taking time. So I'm thinking if I should skip the video or begin. Okay. So please watch this video before we start. All right. Okay, so hoping you enjoyed the video. I would I want us to go right into our discussion for today. So, the theme of our discussion is beyond the degree, how young people can build a career in climate. So, if you're just joining us, welcome. And we have a lot rather. So, um, over the course of my career in sustainability, I've come across young people who tell me like, oh, I want to make a difference, or I want to do something, I want to do something for the environment, I want to make a change, and they're like, where do I start? And in my head, I'm like, well, it's not like I've been in this space for a long time, but okay. So I felt like maybe I should share the little knowledge I have, because yes, for the fact that I am already in this space and I've done a lot of things in the space, I think I'm sure I do have a lot of things to share, and this is the reason why I came up with this topic. Actually, I wanted to do a webinar, right? But I didn't know what to talk about, and I just came up with the topic in my head. I'm like, okay, this works. But as of yesterday, I didn't know what the content was going to look like. So, but then thankfully, we are here today, and we're about to dig right into what I have to share with you. I promise you it's going to be very interesting. So, climate, I mean, when we hear the word climate, what comes to mind? Or let's say climate change, it's everything around us, from the flooding to the oil spills, right, to the gas flaring, to the cutting down of trees, and even down to water pollution, waste, indiscriminate dumping of waste, and the rest. So all of these things are part of the things that causes climate change, and it's something that's happening here. It's not like something that was happening before. It's something that is actually in front of us. So everyone is needed in this space. So when I used to tell people about climate space, they're like, I used to describe it like the sky. Usually they say the sky is big for everyone to fly, right? So the climate space is actually big or wide to contain every career, every field of life. So, but the question is, will you act? And yes, for the fact that you're here, it means that you want to act, right? But then, how will you act? Now, that brings us to the gap that, oh, sorry, that brings us to the gap that I'm actually trying to close in, because a lot of persons are here, they do have the passion, right, but they don't know how to go about these things. You see people posting especially on LinkedIn, and like, oh, how they got this fellowship, how they went for this training, how they were selected to be delegates in so and so conference, and just like that. But then nobody actually talks about how to get into this space, and that is what I thought about. I'm like, okay, since I get a lot of persons coming to ask me, and I do help, so let me make it open, like share the knowledge I have with people that are curious and want to get into the space. So most of the challenges you'd face in this space, entering this space, is actually, I mentioned they don't have a clear direction, right? Because there's no one to actually tell them, meaning they lack mentors, which is something I'm trying this which is what I'm doing right now. I'm not a mentor yet, but then I'm actually trying to guide you to be able to, have a clear path, so you wouldn't be confused like most of us were before we got into the space. And another thing is most persons lack visibility and access to opportunities. But opportunities is quite far, because before we go into opportunity, one has to have done something. One have to have shown himself, visibility. One has to have been visible, your works and all of that, for you to better position you for opportunities. So opportunities doesn't just come because you're passionate. No, it doesn't work like that. You actually have to put your passion to work for you to get opportunities. So jumping right in, you might think this space is just for graduates, people who are done with school and trying to figure their way around um, the climate space. But I tell you, it's not just for students. It's not just for graduates, also for students. I mean, I even feel students they're in a better position than we are, because they're still in school, so they have opportunities to actually make impacts even before they're out. And when they're out, it's not even going to be difficult for them to start um, to actually build a career. They must have even built a career even before they're out of school, so they have a source of income from the climate space. So, as a student now, what can you do? Let's say you're a student, you're passionate. Yes, that's the first thing. You have to, at least be willing to want to do something for the planet. So now you're a student, you have that passion. Where do you start? You can actually start by um, joining a green club. Now, joining a green club, that's on one side. You can actually create or start a green club by yourself. So let's say you're in the school and you you want to make an impact. So you can actually find a friend, find someone who is as passionate as you are, and you guys can come together and create something. It could be um anything. So why I actually stated green club here is because I see club as a means where people get to co-create solutions, so to say, because it makes you think, it makes you really really think, and think you're thinking innovatively. So for a school where there's a diverse field of study, we have engineering, we have commerce, I mean, we have political science, we have economics, we have doctors, nurses, I mean, name them, they're all in the school premises. Now imagine you find someone as passionate as you are, and you guys come together and start something. You don't have to be 100 persons to start. No, you don't even have to be 10 persons to start. Because when I started, it was just I and my friend. And my friend was not as passionate as I am. I bet she's on this call, but then she wasn't as passionate as I was. In fact, she's not even passionate. But for the fact that she was there, it encouraged me to actually do what I wanted to do, because I knew that I couldn't do it on my own. So you could actually lead plant trees, right? I mean, trees is even very crucial in this whole climate issues, because it's a carbon sink, right? So you can plant as much trees as you are, but strategically. I mean, not because I say you should plant trees now, you're not gonna plant trees where they are not needed. You can plant trees, right? But strategically plant these trees. And because these trees are expensive, I mean, I remember we went for environmental outreach in a school, and we did plant trees, three trees. And but then when we went back to the school to continue what we were doing, unfortunately and sadly, they had uprooted one of the trees. It was really sad, because these trees are expensive, right? They cost money, and then someone planted it and someone went to pull it off. That's sad. So plant trees strategically, and you could also organize climate literacy sessions. So the reason why I put that was because um fortunately you are quite aware of the whole climate issues and how it works. You've heard about sustainable development goals, the 17 goals, you've heard about everything. Trust me, while I was in school, I mean, I didn't know any of these things. I didn't even know what climate change was, did I? Mm, I knew about environment because I did study environment, so I knew about the whole activism thing. I knew about um you know the whole environmental issues, but I didn't know about climate change. I didn't know about sustainable development goals. So imagine you now, you have this knowledge. Let's say you don't want to, oh, you don't have someone to actually start a club with, you don't have money to buy trees to plant. Very fine. You can start a class where you tell people about climate issues, tell your fellow students how they can actually align their field um, to the climate issues. I mean, to the sustainable development goals. Yeah, also the climate issue, climate change. Because, like I said, it's passed across every field, every area of um, lives. So you can start that and document it. We'll come back to that, but then just take. I want you to remember that as a student, you can start by um, starting a green club, planting trees, organizing a small session where you teach your students about climate change, about sustainable development goals, and how they can come in, and then document it. So I want you to have that back of your mind. Now, for graduates, young graduates like myself, you're out of school. I mean, unfortunately, you're in a country like Nigeria, and there are not much jobs available, and then you are passionate about the environment. You're passionate about, sorry, I'm using environment because I'm an environmentalist. You're passionate about climate, right? Climate, say environment, but I don't want to streamline it to just environment. So you're passionate about climate. Now, how do you start? How do you build a career that doesn't just but also that doesn't just position you as a leader or multiply your impact, but also gives you money. Now, the first thing you need to do is to find a niche in the whole sustainability space. I think there's what we call thematic areas. We have renewable energy, we have climate policy, we have climate finance, we have agriculture, we have food security, around food. We have waste to energy, we have waste management. So for me, my niche is waste management and waste to energy. That's my niche. So now find a niche. The reason why you need a niche is so you can it's it narrows down your work. So you know where you're actually availing your time, your energy, your resources to. You're not just everywhere. You understand? So that's the essence of having a niche. And then another thing you need to do is to volunteer. Like volunteer. So now, when I say volunteer, I'm not saying that any volunteer opportunity you see, just apply. Anyone you see, apply. I mean, just like me. No, that's not what I'm saying. Don't be like me. Don't apply to every opportunity you see. Volunteer in volunteer to organizations that are within your niche, right? Volunteer to organizations that are within your niche because it helps you learn. It helps you build network. It also adds to your portfolio. Remember, we're not just trying to make impact, you're also trying to build a career and trying to make money and probably also get a job in the climate space because there are a lot of opportunities, right? I see most persons like, oh, I'm aspiring to be a sustainability manager. I am also aspiring to be a sustainability manager myself, but I'm not waiting to get a role in one company and saying, oh, yes, no, no. I am creating that path for myself by myself. It may take time, yeah, but I am doing that. So I'm not trying to tell you to be like me in this aspect. But what I'm saying is you can volunteer, right? And build the experience you would need in that field, build the experience you would include in your portfolio. Remember, welcome to Nigeria where you're applying for a graduate training job or an early entering role, and they're like, oh, you must have at least one experience. So how do you get that experience? Good thing the world is now veering towards you know, it's now centered around sustainability. Everywhere you go, sustainability. In fact, sustainability is now like, the way we used to say use ABCD then, we still use alphabets, right? But you get the point. It's not like an everyday word. That's because it's like the trend right now. But it's not really a trend because it's something that has come to stay. And looking at what sustainability is about using our resources in a way that we benefit, like we that are using it now, and then the other generation, like the next generation, also benefits. And it's also using the resources in a way that it doesn't harm the environment, and it improves livelihood, and also help the economy. So that's like the three pillars of this whole sustainability thing. So it means that you cannot even run away from it. Anything you're doing, you just you just have to go. If not, it's more like you're being left behind. And sustainability is trying not to leave anyone behind. So this is the reason why I'm sharing this little knowledge I have with you. So now, another thing is you need to learn digital and communication skills. Very important. I mean, communication skills is very important in the climate space, because you need to be able to tell your stories in a way that it reaches the heart. Let's say you are doing a work and you want to get a grant, you want to get a funding or whatever. How do you tell, how do you propose your idea in a way that the person or those funders are able to see what you're saying in your idea and actually fund it? That's the reason why you need to learn communication. Also, you need to learn communication. I am When you're telling your stories, you need to say it in a way that people understand. So you're not just talking um climate vocabularies, heat waves, climate change, um sustainability, um what are those big grammars? Renewable energy. Renewable energy sounds still okay, but some persons doesn't know about that, right? Energy transition, climate justice. Those big grammars. You're not just using them, but you're actually communicating in a way that people understand. And also, you need to apply for fellowship grants and trainings. But now, whenever I come to this part of opportunities, I always pause, because you'll just be punching your blow to the air if you've not done anything and you're applying for opportunities. They might not come. You might be fortunate, though. Maybe I don't know, but you might be fortunate. But for what I know, as long as you haven't really done anything, you are less likely to get opportunities. So you need to do something. That's why you need to volunteer. That's why you need to speak. That's why you need to tell stories. That's why you need to write. That's why you also need to document whatever you're doing. Have pictures like the picture I have here. It's my picture. So, I mean, I have something to show that, oh, I'm a climate advocate, I'm a climate communicator, I'm an environmental, whatever. At least evidence there, right? So that's basically the whole idea about you know making yourself visible. So now, moving on to the main thing. For you to actually get into this space, learning is the first step. So learning is the first. Yes, you went to school, fine, you're in school, so you're learning. But to get into this space, because this is not something they teach us in school, right? Even even across university levels, it's not what they teach us too. It's not in the curriculum. Although about some of these advocacy thing and some NGOs as of then, but it's not fully in our curriculum. So it means you have to learn. Now, how do you learn? Thankfully, we have courses, short courses, some can be long, but highest 2 months or 4 months, bad as bad. But there are short courses. Sorry, we have courses on EDX. So EDX is what I've used and I am using. So I can say for that for sure. Yeah, many courses around sustainability, whatever space you want to get into in the climate, whatever niche you want to get into in the climate, there are courses in EDX. And the good thing, the beautiful thing about EDX is that you get to these some of these courses are affiliated with universities like Yale, Oxford, Harvard, University of London, Cambridge, those very top universities. Those are the kind of universities that offer these short courses. So you can imagine. Then we have UNCC Lane. I've used this one too. It's from the UN, so it's also there's a lot to learn here too. Although the courses are also very short. I mean, very short, some few hours, and you get your certificate, but you learn. I think the whole communication thing, I learned it from one of the UNCCN learning platform. Now, there are other ones like Coursera, SDG Academy, LinkedIn Learning, for sure. I haven't tried any of these. I just saw them out and then I put them here. But I've not tried any. For the ones I have tried, these ones I'm telling you, and they are good. So you can also check them out. Now, yeah, this is the reason why you need to learn, these courses because you need to know the terms. You need to understand it. You may not use them, like I said, when you're telling when you sit in climate conversation, when you sit in a round table with those global leaders, those policy makers, you need to speak in the terms they understand. We need to speak in the terms. Every field has terminologies, right? So the climate space also have terminologies. You need to understand it. You need to speak. You have carbon offsets, carbon pricing, and a lot of those big grammars that you need to really learn and understand. Even the climate action, climate change is something you also need to understand because many persons confuse it, right? So you also need to understand that too. So this is the reason why you need these courses. Now, moving on to building skills for a green career. So, um, you have the passion, fine. You've volunteered, very good. You've taken courses, sweet. You've you found your niche, beautiful, and you are making documentaries, awesome. But you need to also build skills that will keep you in space and also fetching money. So aside the whole advocacy thing, activism thing, you need to also remember we're talking about building a career that's something that would actually get you money, right? Aside the whole making an impact. So building skills for a green career. Before we go there, before we delve into that, I'll just urge you to watch this very short video, and I really liked it, and that's why I shared it here. Let's see. I want you to watch. All right, I I like that video because it's looking like reminds me of those futuristic movies we used to watch. So, well, that video is actually urging us young ones to the solutions to climate issues lies in our hands, lies in us. And we need to think to be able to come up with solutions. Solutions doesn't just come. You need to actually spot a problem, look at the problem critically, and think of something. It doesn't have to be one very complex thing. I mean, you don't have to build one big rocket that will take away the problem. No. But you have to like come up with solutions, right? And yeah, some skills I found, project management, data analysis for environment. So I want to dwell on this data analysis for environment, not because I am a data analyst, but because it's a skill that can fetch you money. So I don't know. We've heard of green. I don't know if you've heard of greenhouse gas accounting. So many companies try to account like for their greenhouse gases and get to know how much emissions that they emit. Is that correct? Yes. How much emissions they emit. So they actually calculate these things. There are tools to calculating them, right? So we have scope one, scope two, scope three emissions. Let me not confuse you, but greenhouse gas accounting is more like a career you can, or it's something you can learn on that data analysis for environment. So, and it's something that will fetch you money. Like I said, a lot of organizations are accounting for their greenhouse gases, and they need people to run this data for them to do these calculations and all of that. Imagine you have that knowledge. Now, good thing we have a platform like LinkedIn that helps us sell ourselves and our what we have, right? Imagine you have that, and you are doing your impact work, and that's only impact and advocacy and all of that. Imagine you're doing this greenhouse gas accounting stuff, right? You are making your money while still making an impact. You are making your money while still protecting the planet. You're making your money, and you're also positioning yourself as a thought leader or whatever, and you're growing, right? We also have ESG reporting, sustainability impact reporting. I do that too. That's basically what I do on LinkedIn, and you can learn that. So learning it does not mean that you need to, like, I gave you some, I shared some short courses that you can actually um learn from. But now you don't have to wait until you get a job, right? Before you you actually start. You can actually do a case study, right? A case study and accounting for, and you can even volunteer. This volunteer of a thing is really important because you can volunteer to practice your own skill that would add to your portfolio, that would give you a job. I don't know if I confused you. You get the point. So you can volunteer to help an organization calculate their greenhouse gases, their emissions, and you put that as your portfolio, in your portfolio as part of your work, right? And you've gotten something to show if someone wants to seek your service, right? The same thing with ESG reporting. You can volunteer to write for a company, right? You include it in your portfolio, and you have something to show. And now another one is storytelling and digital communication. We talked about that. It's very important because you need to be able to tell stories. They say storytelling is what sells, right? People don't buy something because of how good or how structured your English is. They buy it because what you're saying reaches their hearts and not just their heads. So we also have green entrepreneurship, like we hear of recycling, people will recycle products, upcycling too. Like people, you can turn a waste, you can turn any waste into something very useful and you sell it and you make your money. And this is the reason why you even need to learn the whole digital communication thing. Because imagine you've done something like that, you need to put it out there. People would buy, right? People would buy. And these are like the jobs that the whole for me, I think waste is creating jobs, a lot of job opportunities for us. Because I and my friend, right, we started something around waste management, and I don't want to share my idea with you, so you won't steal it. But we said something around which so aside the advocacy thing we do, we try to see how we can actually make money while still helping the environment. I don't know if it makes sense. So you can look at your area, observe something. Oh, there's a problem here. The way they manage their waste, I don't really like it, or it's not good. But then you can you can help them manage your waste. They pay you. It doesn't make you those waste carriers on the streets. No, you you have your way you package your own and do it. But now, see, the way I might be saying it and it sounds funny, right? But trust me, there's money in it. People generate tons and tons and tons and tons of waste. That's like money. If you know how to, if you find a way around it to making it a source of income for you, right? So what I'll just urge you to do is think, think, look at the problems and think. I try to think every day because I mean, man is broke, so one has to actually think of what to do to make money in this space. Because for me, I don't think I'm going out of this environmental space anytime soon. I'm not even planning because it has been my thing right from time immemorial. So everything, my source of income has to come from this environmental thing. It has to come from climate. It has to come from sustainability. Name them. It has to come from here. And that's why you need to think if you want it. Because this is the I keep saying this is a trend. It might not be a trend, but this is where the world is going to. You don't want to be left behind. You get you're a designer. You can align your work in the climate space. You are a doctor. You can also align your work with the climate. You can start telling stories about how the whole issues affecting our health. And remember to tell stories that reach the heart, right? You are an engineer. You can think of a solution that would help. So now this is how I used to look at it, right? You you don't have to solve the whole problem. The problem is enormous, it's plenty, it's big. But now let's say you have an idea, you create a solution. Let's say your solution is to divert household waste to from entering the landfills, I mean the dump sites, and then you use it to create a product, something of value. You solved one problem. Now another person thinks of a solution that um let's say prevents plastics like plastic bottles from entering the ocean. He has solved that problem. He has solved the problem, right? Then another person come up with a solution that probably prevents gas flaring and all of that. That person has created a solution and solved the problem. Now imagine everybody keeps thinking, creating solutions or redefining solutions. Because for me, there's nothing new under the sun. Literally, it's looking at what is there, what's the issues, and trying to see what you have, what you're good at, and think of creating something out of it. And that's where you start getting your money. That's where you start making the money you want to make in this space. So visibility. So I wrote visibility is the new currency because it's actually the new currency. I mean, then when I was in school, I who would have told me that I would be on a platform, even talking live. I mean, I don't think I would have ever thought that I would do this. But then this is me, right? I'm trying my best. I'm doing it. Who could have told me that I would actually stand in front of a student and teach? I would not have agreed, but this is what it is, right? If you want to make an impact, if you want to create change, you must be visible. This is not about showing off. Yes, if you want to show off, because the world wants to see the solutions you have. They want to see, there are funders that are ready to fund your ideas, your initiatives. And thankfully, there are lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of opportunities in the climate space. When I mean lots, I mean a lot, that you would even get tired of applying if you begin to apply. Now, this is the reason why you need to have a niche, and this is the reason why you need to put your work out there. Because if you're saying, "Oh, I remember when then I used to volunteer. I remember I even volunteering for a biogas product where we created biogas for some homes, right, in an area. I volunteered, I joined them, but I don't have anything. I don't have a picture to show. I just wrote it there in my CV. But it doesn't count. What counts is want to see you doing it, want to see that you did it, want to see where you did it, want to see the impact you made, want to see how many person's life you helped. Show it. It's not show off. It's just what it is. It's a new currency, right? So you need to build an online presence. Very very important. Build an online presence. Is it on LinkedIn? Is it on Instagram? Is it wherever, whatever social media fits you? But I mean, LinkedIn is top notch. Instagram super. You know, there are a lot of platforms you can build on. Post your pictures. Take pictures of whatever you're doing. Make videos. Post them. And now let's say you've not started anything because you've not found someone to actually co-create solutions with, which is fine. Let's say you are already taking a course in one of these platform I shared with you. You can, anything you learn from your course, share it, post about it, write about it. You're also building your portfolio. Do you know that? You guys cannot hear me, but you get the point. You are also building. I see you guys cannot hear me. I mean, I can't get feedback, but you feel me, right? So you're, if you're, even if you're reading a book around sustainability, share it, share it on LinkedIn or anything. Just the point is, document your journey, post it, write it. It is what gives you um it is what positions you as a leader. It is what positions you for opportunities. I cannot overemphasize that. It is what, it is what you do, the impact you make, and the documentaries you take, and the post you make. That's what make you um that's what positions you for opportunities, because they want to see the work you've done, right? Engage in communities. So there are a lot of sustainability communities out there. There are a lot: climate action, Earth Day, global shaker, global shapers, um there are lots, right? A lot of organizations. Follow them on LinkedIn, follow them on Instagram, comment on their posts. Now, for someone who is trying to build a career, let's say you don't want to go about, okay, I know of someone that said, oh, I don't, I can't be going about picking dirt and going for cleanup and the rest. It's fine. Nobody's saying you have to do that, right? If you're passionate about the environment, you can. I mean, I would happily do it. But you don't have to do that to get into the climate space. You don't have to do that to make an impact. You can do something else, right? You can, whatever you're doing. Let's say a tailor sews, and she has pieces of materials left over. You know, those cut off they get. Instead of throwing them into the adding them to the landfill, she uses it to create a piece, or she gives it to an artist who turns that to a piece. They've both co-created a solution. Am I shouting? You get the point. So they both co-created a solution. They didn't need to. She didn't need to go and join one cleanup drive. She didn't need to go and join one campaign, one protest, or one oil cleanup or remediation or whatever. No, no, no. Even people that are even doing remediation, it's a job, right? But they are making impact while they are making their money. So it's I'm speaking so enthusiastically, but you get the point. It's there's a lot to do, right? There's a lot to do if you think very well. You'd come up with solutions. I've even given you guys a lot of ideas while speaking, right? Even I just don't like the fact that I'm skipping agriculture. Agriculture is also very another area you can also look into. And um, to me, if I wasn't doing waste management, I would go into agriculture, right? But I want to do it right, but I can't be doing everything at once because I'm also even into biodiversity conservation. But I can't do everything at once, so I'm trying to narrow down my interest to a particular area. So these are what you can do in terms of visibility. Now, collaboration, very important. You need to collaborate. I made mention of um joining hands with someone in your school, someone in your community, someone in your network, even on LinkedIn. I mean, the person I'm creating something with currently now, I met him on LinkedIn and we are currently building something. Yeah, we're building something. I met him on LinkedIn and we are as passionate as I mean, we are both passionate about the whole climate issues, and that's what makes it super. He's doing his own stuff on his own. I'm doing my own stuff on my own, but we are both creating solutions together also. So look for someone, collaborate with them. You guys should share ideas. See, in this space, there's nothing like someone is stealing my idea, right? Because if you're saying someone is stealing your idea, most of the applications we make where we share our ideas, in my head I'm like, okay, I just shared my idea to this application. What if they collect it? What if they steal it? That kind of thing. So but there's something like stealing idea, right? Share your idea and you guys should build it together. You both get the what's the English? The accolades or the the reward or whatever that comes from it, you both get it, right? Even if you are a founder, it doesn't stop you from volunteering. It doesn't stop you from learning, right? Because volunteering is one way that I think you learn. Most of the things that you wouldn't even get the time to say, let me go and read my phone and let me go and check my phone and start reading what circular economy is about. You learn it through volunteering. You get so we need to learn to collaborate. In fact, one of the sustainable development goals, I think SDG 17 is um partnership for the goals. Yeah, collaborating. Even countries collaborate, right? Schools they collaborate with ministries, parastatals, communities, schools, name them, because that's the only way you can actually go far, right? Say if you want to go far, go with someone. You want to you get the point. So, but then you actually have to collaborate before I actually bite my mouth. So, the power of networking. Networking is another very beautiful thing. You say your network is your net worth, and I agree. I totally agree. I mean, I was last week. I was on 1,000 something followers, 1,200 followers on LinkedIn, and in 2 days, I was already in 2,200 and something followers, just like that. And that was when I got 2 gigs. And in my head, I'm like, okay, we have this been lying all along. So is it that nobody has been seeing me? So, but then it's because my network increased. But that's for LinkedIn, sha. But when I'm talking about networking too, not just LinkedIn, network when you attend conferences, when you attend webinars, um, network, right? Don't be like me because me when I go for conferences, I don't talk to anyone. I just even if I know you, I'm just like hi, and but please don't be like me. Network. because you never can tell. Maybe you can get your next, you know, job in space from there, right? And one of the job I got, one of the role I'm currently on right now, I got it through a network on LinkedIn. He has been following my posts, and he said I write very well, blah blah blah. And then he said, oh, he feel I'll be a great fit for this job, and he he introduced me to the management board, and I submitted my CV, and I got the job. Network. So you see the essence of networking. Engage with mentors. I made mention of mentorship. Very important. Have a mentor. I mean, it's just like a child, a small child crossing. No, not small child. A blind person crossing the road. You need someone to guide him. It's not like the blind person might eventually see, but I'm just giving an instance. At this point, let's just say at this point you are blind, not like you are literally blind, but you are not. You don't really understand the part, so you need someone to guide you. You get. Personally, when I started, right, I didn't have any mentor. To be honest, I didn't have any mentor. I just started. And I even didn't know that people were doing this thing. In my head, I was like, oh, I'm going to be, please don't laugh at me. But I felt like I was going to be the first person to be an environmental writer because of how passionate I was. Because I've never ever thought of being on LinkedIn. But then I was like, okay, if I really want to start this, I can actually do this. And then I told my friend, oh, we can actually start an NGO where we go to tell people about the environment in marketplaces. And she was like, oh, okay, but where will we get the money? Man, I'm like, can you just leave money first? Let's start this thing. Money will come. And truly, I got my first grant, right? Without my friend knowing actually. But I got my first grant. And trust me, I had not done anything. I was just fortunate. I had not done anything at the time. But I was doing something with other organizations. But with my organization, I've not done anything at the time. But I did get it was a mini very, very, very small grant. Not like very small, but I mean compared to other grants, actually it was a mini grant. Right. So because I was already out there, it's it better positioned me to get that. And imagine I had done something, maybe I would have gotten more. So that's the power of networking and visibility. So all of this having been said, we understand how difficult it is to navigate the space. So we are now lending you a hand. Renewable Initiative Africa is lending you a hand. How? We are introducing our Climate Builders Fellowship that will be rolling out soon. So it's the first cohort. So I want you to keep your eyes glued to our social media platforms. Do follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube to keep to be updated when this application will be out. The reason why we are bringing out this application because we want to help. We want to give you that platform to be visible. We want to give you that platform to grow. We want to give you that platform to make that change you want to make. We want to give you the platform to make an impact. Learn how to make an impact and scale your impact. See, the fact you learn today does not mean that you cannot be better than other persons that have been doing it. You can even be way better than part of the reason why I do my environmental outreach because I believe that children have the potentials to think innovatively and they have ideas in their little head. So if you give them that platform to think, to create solutions, then you see them actually doing things. And that's why you know that that's this small child is not a small child though. She has idea that's gonna, you know, that's gonna help with the whole issue. So this is the reason why we're introducing this GIA platform climate builders fellowship and you can be part of it. How? I've already mentioned that. And you can actually join our youth climate network group on WhatsApp. I can't drop the link at the moment, but I'll be sharing the link on my next post. So just follow me and do well to check my next post. I'll drop the link if you're interested. Remember, you have to be passionate first. You have to be willing to act, and then we can help you through from there. So yeah, before I say my final words, not like my final words from Edo, like my final words for this webinar, I want to say that yes, you may not want to make an impact like us, like some of us. You may not want to um um make money. I mean, does that sound weird? I think everybody wants to make money, but you may not want to make an impact. You may not want to join in the whole climate campaigns, cleanup drives, and the rest. But I bet you most students, when they finish school, most students want to further their masters out of the country, especially some Nigerians, right? I bet you, or I kid you not, for you to actually gain a scholarship, you need to have shown an ample. You need to have been able to have. You need to have um had lead some projects. You must have gotten um you must have led a lot of projects. You must have built your leadership skills, right? And now, how do you show that you built your leadership skills? You don't just write it in an ACM like, oh, I led this, I led that. They want to see what you have done. And this is the reason why you need to volunteer, right? When I say volunteer, I'll still say it again. Don't volunteer and like just like me everywhere. Don't be everywhere. Find a niche, volunteer in your niche. When I mean everywhere, I'm like, okay, let's say your niche is um climate advocacy, and let's say a school is sharing books, an NGO is sharing books to school. It's not bad if you volunteer for that, but is that what you is that your niche? It's not bad. Like personally, I can volunteer because me, I like to help, right? And maybe because I have the time to. But you may not have that time, and this is why I'm telling you to use your time wisely. Don't use your time like me. Use your time wisely. Volunteer strategically. Volunteer to people, organizations that are within your niche. It will help you to get opportunities like scholarships. If you want to travel out of the country for your masters or PhD, they're very concerned about your leadership, your leadership skills. So this is an opportunity for you to build your leadership skills. And yeah, so my final word for this webinar: your degree gives you knowledge, your action gives you relevance. So, and to add to that, you actually do not need permission to start. You just need passion and persistence and consistency. Oh God, I'm sorry I forgot that. You need passion, you need persistence, and you need because you need to be consistency, because whatever you're doing, you start a post, you're making a post, you're doing something, you need to be consistent at it, because people are watching you. Will lie, I tell you, people are watching you. they are they want to see how consistent you are before they can actually entrust you with something. So you have to be worthy of whatever they're giving to you. So some people stay with you for like 6 months before they actually give you something, like give you a gig or a job or whatever. So it's how much people are watching you. As long as you're visible, as long as you are in the social media space, in this, yeah, social media space, people are watching you. And if you're giving value, please always give value. If you're giving value, people are watching you. And if you have a service that you're actually rendering, it's your consistency that will pay you at the end of the day, right? So you don't need somebody to um call you aside and say, okay, join this organization before you can actually start um you can actually lead a community drive in your area. Okay, the first cleanup drive I did, I mean, aside from the one I volunteered, I did myself, was in my compound here. I mean, like I see my compound, but in my compound and then outside my compound. And my friend was there. She was making the video. She did not do anything, but she was actually making the video, and I was doing the work. And I was, I did what I wanted, and I posted it, regardless of how bad it was looking. I posted it. You get, and like I mentioned, she was not doing anything, but she was actually videoing me. She was actually making a video of me. So that's like eco journalism. I just want to, rub her ego. So yeah, that's actually, so even as a photographer, you can be in the climate space, right? Even as a photographer, even as a content creator, you can be in the climate space, create content for, you know, um eco brands and sustainability brands, and even people who write poems or speak, like spoken poets and the rest of them. So that's to tell you that there's a space for everybody in the climate space. So over to you. What action are you taking today? Are you joining cleanup drives? Are you taking courses? Are you going to start posting? Are you going to start a green club in your city, in your school? Are you going to um are you going to start learning a skill that will bring you into the space, or are you going to start volunteering like I mentioned? So what action are you taking today? It's time for you to actually think. So my call to action to you is think creatively, think innovatively, look at solutions. I mean, look at issues that we are facing, look at it critically, and then think of a solution. And then don't just think. After you think, actually, m- like, go further to actually act. Right? They said the very first step in the hardest step is to actually start something. Just start, and then you just see yourself wanting to do it all day, wanting to do it all night. So we Greenable Initiative have given you this platform. So like I said, follow us on Instagram at Greenable GIA, right? I think I got that. Greenable GIA. Follow us on LinkedIn, Greenable Initiative Africa. Follow us on YouTube, Greenable GIA. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, sorry, Greenable GIA. So, and if you have any questions, I would like to, I think I have 10 minutes to take your questions, and any further questions, you can drop it. You can come to my DM on LinkedIn and drop your questions. And then for those that would watch this video later, do well to drop your questions in my DM if you have any question. So this is the end of our video session. I don't know. Anybody have the question? I can't. I literally can't see the message comment section here. But then, if you have a question, please do well to send the question across to my DM. All right. So this is the end of um, this webinar. Thank you all for joining, and see you some other time.